Today, we are diving deep into the new engine room of modern finance, artificial intelligence. This stuff is fast, it's powerful, and it is completely rewriting the rules for how money moves around the globe.
Just stop and think about that for a second. What if you had that kind of power? The ability to drink from a literal fire hose of global information and then act on it instantly. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, it's not.
For an AI, that superhuman feat is, well, it's just another Tuesday. These algorithms are built from the ground up to sift through mountains of messy, unstructured data at speeds we can't even really wrap our heads around. So the big question is, how do they actually do it?
Okay, first up, let's get into how an AI actually reads the market. And I'll tell you right now, it goes way, way beyond just scanning for simple keywords.
The secret sauce here is something called sentiment analysis. It uses natural language processing, which is basically just a fancy way of saying we're teaching computers to understand how humans talk to get a feel for the market's mood. It's not just about what's being said, but the emotion, the tone, and the context behind the words. That's what really matters.
So the process is actually pretty straightforward, in theory. First, the AI just vacuums up a staggering amount of data from all over the place. Then, and this is the clever part, it analyzes the context. Who's talking? How influential are they? How fast is their idea spreading? And finally, it spits out a real-time insight, flagging a tiny shift in mood that could be the start of a huge market move.
And this right here is where it gets really cool. An AI doesn't just see a single tweet. It sees a comment from some niche blogger that suddenly gets picked up and amplified by a bunch of big-shot hedge fund analysts. And in a fraction of a second, it realizes, whoa, this idea is going mainstream. Now that is a powerful signal to trade on.
Okay, so what kind of results does all this tech actually deliver? Let's talk about the promise of AI trading, because honestly, we're seeing some performance that is nothing short of revolutionary.
Just look at this number for a second. 99.6%. What does that even mean? It represents an absolutely massive leap forward in making financial predictions more accurate.
So where in the world does a number like that come from? Well, if you look at the slide, even really advanced single AIs, like an LSTM model, which is great at spotting patterns over time, or a transformer, which is a genius at understanding context, they still make a lot of mistakes. But this new weighted ensemble method completely changes the game. Think of it like this. Instead of relying on one lone genius, you get a whole team of different experts together. They combine their strengths, they cancel out each other's weaknesses, and poof, the error rate just plummets. We're talking a game-changing improvement in accuracy.
So you've got this incredible trifecta of power, mind-boggling speed, the ability to analyze more data than any human ever could, and super sophisticated risk management. But, and you knew there was a but coming, with this incredible promise comes some pretty significant peril.
Yep, with all this potential, there's also a dark side. We're starting to see a lot of what's called AI washing, not to mention a whole host of other hidden risks.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. This is a direct warning from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The message they're sending is crystal clear. Don't fake it till you make it. If you lie to investors about your AI, you're going to get some very serious unwanted attention.
And it's not just the SEC either. Financial watchdogs all over the world are starting to really scrutinize these big AI claims. They're writing new rules, and they're getting ready to enforce them. The Wild West days of just saying you have a super smart AI, well, those days are numbered.
And here's a perfect real-world example. A company called Global Predictions, Inc. was out there calling itself an expert AI financial advisor. So what was the reality? Well, the SEC found they were basically just making it up, exaggerating what their AI could do and using totally misleading numbers. It's a classic case of all hype and no substance.
But beyond the hype, there are even deeper risks. An AI could actually learn how to manipulate markets in really sophisticated new ways. These models can also just learn and amplify bad habits from old data, causing them to miss huge new trends. And, of course, that age-old rule of computing still applies. Garbage in, garbage out. The AI is only ever as good as the data you feed it.
So how do we get this right? How do we get the good without the bad? Well, the focus now is shifting towards building responsible AI, right from the very beginning. You're seeing the really serious players in the industry move past all the hype and get focused on rigor. A firm like BlackRock, for example, is pushing something called evaluation-driven development.
It just means they treat testing and proving their AI models with the same level of discipline you'd use for building a fighter jet.
And this all leads to a really crucial idea: augmented intelligence. See, the goal isn't to replace human experts. It's not man versus machine. It's about creating a partnership, using AI to make human experts faster, smarter, and way more efficient.
So the real path forward looks something like this. 1. Rigorous, non-stop testing and evaluation. 2, and this is absolutely critical, you have to keep a human in the loop for that final judgment call. And 3, you need strong rules of the road, clear frameworks that demand transparency and accountability.
So when you boil it all down, the future isn't some epic battle between humans and AI. It's a hybrid model. It's about taking the raw number-crunching power of an AI and combining it with the strategic foresight, the common sense, and the ethical judgment that for now is still uniquely human.
Which kind of leaves us with this final big thought. As AI just keeps getting smarter and smarter at this unbelievable pace, our biggest challenge isn't just building more powerful algorithms. It's about building wise ones. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we make sure that human wisdom always stays in the driver's seat?